Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anjum Singh, Executive Director, TiE Chandigarh, and I welcome our distinguished speakers, participating chapters, and all our guests for the session. This is a very informative session on India-Israel Industrial R&D Technological Innovation Fund called I4F for short. You will get more information on the program as we go along. I'm happy to introduce Mr. Satish Kumar Arora, our Chair, Cross Chapter Connect, TiE Chandigarh, and co-founder App Smarts to you. Mr. Satish Kumar Arora is a technologist by heart and entrepreneur from mind. He is passionate for gaming, and his venture App Smarts is a product-focused company with expertise in voice, video, and live streaming domain, currently serving over 10 million global customers. His globally recognized products are Screen Recorder, which is a recording and screening utility for Android and iOS devices, which is used in 40 different languages across 100 plus countries, and GameC, which is a platform for games. Mr. Arora carries with him a professional experience of more than 2 decades in IT telecom, vast enterprise, government, public and private sector companies in India, APAC, Middle East, Africa, Europe, and the US. So I would now request Mr. Arora to please take it forward from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Anju. Thanks for the warm introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure everyone at this hour of the day, so I think everyone is awake and active after the heavy lunch. And it's special day for someone, so from the Punjab side, so I think they have got some election results. I think they might be active somewhere. Yeah. Okay, I think initially I want to welcome, before I move to the speakers today, today's speakers are very special for us, and they are from the country which has a very special and soft corner for our country in terms of relations at very different levels. So I first want to welcome all of our members from the various chapters. TiE include not just the members from TiE Chandigarh, there are the members from TiE Rajasthan, Vadodara and Kolkata. With TiE Rajasthan President Dr. Ravi Modani and ED Arun Parikh, TiE Vadodara Nilesh Shukla, the President, and Shweta Upadhyay, from TiE Kolkata, Bimal Patwari, and Neha Agarwal from Secretariat team. So our guests are actually, today our guests are very special. They are from a country that may look very small on the geographical map, but that contributes a large value to the global affairs. It is the most technologically advanced market economy and still has the highest expectancy level in the world. The first word that comes to my mind, so when I think of that country, is invention. I hope you might have got it right very well. This is the only country in the world that has much more trees today than it was having 50 years ago, right? So I'm sure you already guessed it right. I'm talking about Israel, and the relations between India and Israel are deeply rooted. Last month only, our PM actually celebrated 3 decades of strong, deep-rooted relationship between India and Israel. And our first speaker, I want to proudly welcome Ms. Orly Goldsmith. She has an international experience of program development, budgeting, working with clients, as well as a strong background in development and facilitation of the staff training, education sessions, and cultural events. She has worked with international customers to create, execute, and manage on-ground tailor-made programs and educational content for leadership companies in Israel and Europe. She has also served as an emissary for the Jewish Agency of Israel, where she was responsible for strengthening the relationship and knowledge about Israel for US and UK, Jewish and Israeli students, and help them grow the existing network by 25%. She holds her master's in contemporary Jewry from the Hebrew University and is a certified tour guide in Israel. She joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2018. She is today the head of public diplomacy at Israeli Embassy in New Delhi, in charge of innovation, culture, academy, and civil society. Welcome, Orly. It's now I give you, I think, the right to speak on next onwards. Please.
Thank you for your warm words, and really happy to be here today. Hello, everyone. So we've been talking about this webinar for a long time. I'm happy that it's finally happening. As you were mentioning, both India and Israel have strong ties, and it's only getting strengthened. And this year we're celebrating 30 years of relations, diplomatic relations between Israel and India. So it's only even more evident that we try and work together in the field of innovation, which is so dear to all of us. So I hope that this webinar will be the beginning of a fruitful collaboration between different startups here and in Israel. And I'm looking forward to hearing about different success stories. Before I give you the word again, I just want to say that you can use the embassy for anything in terms of contact and opening doors. If we can be of any help, we'd be very happy to do so. That's it. Namaste.
Okay, so only you have any presentation to start, or I can simply invite our next speaker? Yeah, okay. My next speaker is Mr. S. Jyoti Kumar. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Global Innovation and Technology Alliance. He's an engineer with over 27 years of experience in diverse fields such as engineering, information technology, AIDC technologies, renewable energy, project consultancy, project execution, project management, and development of technologies for the societal benefits such as waste to energy, value-added products from bamboo, etc. Before taking over as a CEO of GITA, as he was with the CII in various capacities such as Director in Technology and IPR, Director and Head of CII Andhra Pradesh, and Director and Head of Andhra Pradesh Technology Development and Promotion Center. I invite him to at least start the presentation with the GITA.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. And I thank TiE Chandigarh for organizing this particular session. And it's a very pleasant and welcome change for us. And I think the state of Punjab is also going to welcome a change which is I think going to take the state much more ahead in the country. Yes, I would like to share the presentation.
So you are the co-host, sir. You can you have the sharing, right?
I'm selecting that. I hope you are able to see the screen, the presentation.
Yes, we can see that.
Yeah. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and also our colleagues from Israel Innovation Authority, our partners from Israel Innovation Authority, and also from the embassy here. This is about the India-Israel Industrial R&D and Technological Innovation Fund, basically. Okay, before I talk about this program, which is a bilateral program between India and Israel to encourage R&D, a little about GITA. GITA was established in the year 2011 as an arm's length organization of the Government of India in the private-public partnership mode to help develop the Indian R&D ecosystem by supporting industries in investing into R&D, encouraging them. And the way the industries are encouraged to get into R&D is by providing flexible funding support to the industries. As I mentioned, it was established in the year 2011. And this is a partnership between Confederation of Indian Industry and the Government of India, where CI holds 51% stake, so that the operations are, there is more operational freedom. This was the idea of the government, to give more operational freedom to GITA so that the programs could be launched in a more quicker and effective way. The board of GITA consists of directors from industry and directors from government. We have 7 directors from industry. Right now, the chairman of GITA is Mr. Deep Kaporia. He is the chairman of High-Tech Cares. Until last year, it was Mr. Vikram Kirloskar. Right from inception, he is the vice chairman of Toyota Kirloskar. And other promoters, these are basically the promoters of GITA. So we have investors. The High-Tech Group has invested in GITA, Toyota Kirloskar, Infosys, Tata Chemicals, and Godrej. They are the 5 industry investors. And then from government, it is Technology Development Board. The GITA board is chaired by the industry director and co-chaired by the secretary of TDP, which is Mr. Patak. And we also have nominations from DST as well as the Department for Promotion of Industrial Investment and Trade, DPIT, and the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. There have been resignations recently and from the board due to transfers of the officials who were nominated earlier. So we are getting replacements, renominations from the respective departments. So as I mentioned, the purpose of GITA is to strengthen the country's innovation ecosystem by encouraging industries to invest into R&D. These are the 4 different areas, focus areas for GITA. Primarily, the major activity is providing the grant, the government funds given as grant to the industries, particularly for working on research and development. I'll explain to you more about the sort of programs that we are working on. So the other areas are basically to help the companies in various aspects of R&D. We are working on this is a program portfolio of GITA, where we are working on broadly two programs. One is the bilateral programs, where we have India partnering with another country, and jointly companies from the respective countries come together to undertake R&D programs, R&D projects. So Israel is one of the countries with whom we are working, and it is one of the most successful programs, where we are launching 2 calls every year, and we have a lot of interest from Indian industry as well as the Israeli industries. Similar to the bilateral programs, we also have the national programs where R&D projects are supported. Here, these are programs where we don't have an international partner, but these are funded by some of the ministries. And we also have a scientist exchange program with Taiwan, which is primarily for the institutes. The bilateral and national programs are driven by the industry. So industry is the lead partner in these projects, and they can partner with other industries or institutes in developing the project. Likewise, their counterpart from the other country also partners with them. So these are various strategic partners. You can see Israel Innovation Authority under Israel, with whom who is our counterpart, and with whom we work closely in managing these programs. And we have covered in this 10 years of existence of GITA, we have covered almost all sectors except defense, which is in a limited way. We work with DRDO. Otherwise, most of the industrial sectors are all covered. So any company, which is primarily working in an industrial activity, in a technological activity, which wants to develop new technologies or solutions and is looking for support, is welcome, to apply to the programs. Usually, the projects that are supported are in the range of TRL range of 5 to 7, where the project is not at lab scale, but it is ready for getting into the industrial scale, where the concept is already ready, proven, and in order to take it to the industrial scale, that is where we support such projects. And the idea is that the projects that are supported have a very good chance of commercialization, so that it would ultimately help the Indian economy as well as the economy of the partner country, because these projects, the industries are of course business entities, and an industry which is working on an R&D project should help the industry, and that would in turn help the country in terms of the revenue through taxes, employment creation, export revenue, import substitution. There are various ways that it indirectly helps the country. So that is the purpose why these projects are supported. In this 10 years of existence, the initial 2-3 years were more into the establishment of this organization. Mostly the projects have started coming in from around 2014-15 onwards, and so far we have supported more than 115 projects, and close to 1,000 crores is being managed, and the investment that is attracted from the industry is about 300 crores. Out of this close to 115 projects, more than 35 projects have already completed the technological development phase, and about 15 of them have already got into the commercial phase. So the success rate for the program that is being supported by the government is pretty high, because a project getting into the commercialization stage, a new product that is being developed getting into the commercialization stage, it's not necessary that every product, every technology that gets developed goes into such a stage, but here you see that the success rate is very high, and it is also helping in many of the national programs, the projects that are so we have a footprint which is covering almost the entire country, except for a few states like the J&K and the Northeast. We are pursuing with those states to increase to get the applications from those states also, and but generally you can see that the projects that are supported are spread across the country. Now, coming specific to this particular program, we have recently launched the 9th call, the call for proposal, where which has been announced on the 22nd of February. So applications are invited from Indian industry as well as the Israeli industries to take up this joint R&D programs, and the sectors that are being supported under this program are agriculture, energy, healthcare, ICT and water. But this is not restrictive. In case we get a very good proposal from other sectors also, they can also be supported. But largely these are the sectors that we are focusing on for this particular call. The call will be closed on 16th of June, by which time the application should have been submitted jointly by the Indian company as well as the partner. Now, looking at the funding mechanism, if you see, we have an Indian company partnering with a company from Israel, and together they are committed to taking up the technology development project, and they agree on the scope of work, on the milestones that they would like to work on in achieving the target, in developing the technology, and then each company, more or less, the share financial, the cost of investment by each, the investment by each company would be more or less equal. And the investment by the Indian company, if it is 100, 50% of that would be supported by Government of India. So the investment, the risk of the Indian company or even the Israeli company is only 25% in the overall development of that particular technology. So this way, the risk is also very less. And the chances of success are also very high because you're having collaboration, you're having experts who also, monitor and also guide if required. So generally the criteria on the basis of which we select the companies are, I'm talking specifically about the Indian companies. The Indian company should be must be a commercial company registered under the Indian Companies Act, which operates in and is also headquartered in India. And another condition, important condition, is that at least 51% of the stake in that particular company must be owned by Indian citizens. Companies that are headquartered and owned outside India and their subsidiaries in India or vice versa are not eligible. Like we look at the novelty in the project, the maturity level of the project, as I already mentioned, the TRL level, the synergy between the partners, the potential of that particular product or technology that the companies are proposing to develop, what is the potential for commercialization, the deliverables, which is the end deliverable, the overall cost. Of course, here the cost, the budget is, we have a much higher budget for the, under this program. Each Indian company can that. And as already mentioned, it should ultimately lead to benefiting the two countries in various ways. It could be in terms of the employment generation, in terms of the import substitution, in terms of export revenue, various the societal benefit to the society, etc. So on such parameters, the applications are evaluated. And generally, the quality of the application is assessed on these criteria. Now, what is the process that we follow? Now, we have, as I already mentioned, we have already launched the call. Now, this is part of promoting the call, where we are reaching out to several industries. And thanks to TiE Chandigarh, like you, we are also working with other agencies, associations who can help us in reaching out to the industries, their respective members. So that is part of the promotion. And then once the applications are submitted, there is a fair and transparent evaluation, which is done by a pool of technical and financial experts. And there are stages of evaluation, and these technical and financial experts are not employees of GITA, but they are external experts. So therefore, it is expected that these are done in a very fair way. And then once the project applications received from the Indian side are evaluated, the Israeli side also the applications are evaluated, and jointly the projects are evaluated and ranked and then shortlisted and selected. So there is a multi-level process of selection, and the projects that are finally selected, we sign an agreement with them, and then the funds are released. So this is broadly the process in detail, which I briefly explained to you. So this grant that is given as support to the industries is a conditional grant, and it has to be paid back after the product gets commercialized, and the company is able to generate revenue, and only the grant amount is expected to be repaid. There is no interest element on this, and the terms are very flexible. So over a period, after a cooling period of about 2 years, after completion of the product or technology, which is the duration is generally given is about 24 months. After that, we give a cooling period, and then over a period of 5 to 10 years, the grant amount can be repaid in installments over a period of 5 to 10 years. So it is very attractive to the companies. However, the grant is to be repaid. As I mentioned, the duration for project development that is given is about 24 months. So it is expected that the development phase will be completed in about 24 months. But overall, if you look at the cycle, like now we have launched the CFP9, it would take about we keep the call open for about 4 to 5 months. And then it would take about 3 months for evaluation and due diligence, another 2 to 3 months. And after that, the projects are selected, agreement signed, and then would begin the project development phase. Overall, it would take anywhere between 30 to 36 months for each cycle to get completed. Now, these are some of the projects that have been, awarded. As you see, we have reputed companies, large companies, medium companies, as well as small and startup companies also, and we have projects from various sectors. You can go into the details, as the presentation is being recorded. You can see this. But for your information, we are just sharing this. And in fact, CFP 8 has been closed recently, and a few projects will also get selected under that call. So I would request you to visit our website, gita.org.in, and go to the section called as Apply for Funding for more information. And in that section, you will have the respective country programs where you can click on that country program to get more information. The companies that are interested in participating in this program, we invite you to visit a section called as GITA Innovation Exchange, where we can help you in finding a partner. So it is not necessary that the company that is interested should already have a partner. But in case it is preferable, definitely it is preferable if you already have a partner. But in case you do not have a partner, we would request you to let us know early so that we can help you with the help of Israel Innovation Authority. We can help you in finding a partner, because these programs, it is mandatory that they are applied jointly. So that is mandatory. So therefore, but don't think that you will not be eligible because you don't have a partner. Because you please come forward. We invite you. We request you to come forward. Feel free, and we'll try and find a partner for you. We still have time, so that would be. We have enough time to help you in finding partners. But we would request you to come forward and let us know your interest So thank you for giving me this time. Over to you, Mr. Arora.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jyoti. I think I can see the excitement here. I can see someone just pitching the idea in the chat group. So probably people are really seems interested, and I think some of the questions are also coming up here. I have noted them down, but I think before we start taking up Q&A, so I want to welcome Ms. Sarah Rosenberg. She heads the Israel part of this fund, and she heads the India-Israel Industrial R&D Technology Innovation Fund on behalf of Israel Innovation Authority. She joined the IIA after 2 years as an India Program Manager at the Peers Program for Global Innovation, a not-for-profit organization promoting Israeli innovation for international development. Prior to setting down in Israel, Sarah spent 4 years in India working for the Nandi Foundation, one of the largest and most innovative social enterprises in India. So Sarah, so I think we are just waiting for you. I think a lot of the members here, so who want to listen, okay, how we can connect to the Israeli part of it and how we can partner with the companies there.
Thank you so much, Satish. Thank you everyone for joining us today. So I think I'll just say a few words about the Israel Innovation Authority, because Jyoti already covered everything you need to know about I4F and how to apply. And I want to leave space for Q&A questions to see how we can practically help you to partner with an Israeli company and submit an application to the fund to receive support. So I'll share my screen. Second here. Okay, so as you mentioned, Satish, Israel is a very tiny country compared to India. We don't have any natural resources. We have very high security needs, as you all know. We don't have a domestic market. So from the very beginning, Israeli companies were forced to turn towards the outside world. For many years now already, Israel has been a leader in R&D and is consistently in the leading countries that spend the most of their GDP in R&D, in civilian R&D. So in 2018, we spent close to 5% of our GDP in R&D. It also consistently enters the top 10 countries, top 10 most innovative countries in the world. In 2021, we were the 7th most innovative country. Because of that, as a result of that, 13% of our GDP comes from the high-tech industry. 9% of our workforce works in the high-tech industry, and high-tech accounts for almost half of our exports. So a few words about the Innovation Authority. Actually, the Innovation Authority started about 50 years ago already as what used to be called the Office of the Chief Scientist under the Ministry of Economy. And the Israel Innovation Authority became what it is today in 2016 as an independent authority in charge of promoting R&D and innovation in Israel. So our mission is to invest in innovation to promote sustainable and inclusive growth by strengthening the innovation ecosystem, promoting economic impact, and promoting the emergence of disruptive technologies. We fund innovation at every stage from every sector. So we have certain divisions of the Innovation Authority that focus more on the linkages between academia and industry. We have another section of the Innovation Authority that focuses on supporting really early stage startups, another section supporting growth startups, another division looking at international collaboration and how to support Israeli companies that are looking to internationalize and reach world markets. We don't impose any specific sector on the innovation ecosystem. We have a really bottom-up approach and let all the opportunities come to us. So just to give you an idea of the scope and the size of our operations. In 2020, we had a budget of close to $700 million. We received 3,500 submissions, applications for funding. We have about 150 employees and even more, 180 technological evaluators who are experts, technological experts who are in charge of evaluating all the applications that we receive, the applications for funding. And we always provide what we call conditional loans. It's also the case in I4F, which means that if the project is successful and you manage to commercialize the technology that you've developed thanks to our support, we will ask you to pay us back in the form of royalties of between 2 and 5% over a certain amount of years, like 10 to 15 years, only up to the amount that you received. And in case the project fails for some reason, technological reason, commercial reason, then it becomes a full grant and you don't have to pay us back. Yes, I think that's all for a quick overview of the IIA. If you have any specific question, happy to answer.
I think some of the questions so that I have received one-on-one in the chat, and there are, so I think I just want to put up those questions. So probably Sarah, you or Mr. Jyoti, so any of you, if you can answer those questions. So one, so I heard, so this is like an equity-free grant kind of a thing, or you hire, I think you mentioned somewhere it's related to the royalty somewhere.
Yeah, because this is about Indian funding, so I think I will answer this question. There is it's not about equity. No, there is no equity that we are looking at, and we are calling it as royalty, but actually it is repayment of the grant amount. Whatever is the amount, like to make it, if an Indian company requires 100 rupees for doing their part in developing the technology, 50 rupees is given as grant by Government of India through GITA. Now this 50 rupees only is to be repaid if you have if you have been able to commercialize the product. And once you have been able to commercialize the product, this 50 rupees is repaid over a period of 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
So it is not really as a, we call it as royalty because the sale that you are able to actually generate from this particular product. But the amount that is to be repaid is only whatever is extended to you as a grant, not more than that. And
okay.
that too, once your commercialization has started. So we are talking about a 2-year period in which you get the grant. And this 2-year period, the 24 months period, is the time you require to develop the technology. And then we give you a cooling period of another 2 years for you to, get into the commercialization mode. So you're talking about from the start date of the project, about 4 years is already given to you, and you have this money with you, which you have invested in developing the particular, solution. And after the 4th year, we expect that you will be getting into the commercialization mode, where you are able to generate revenue for your company through the product or technology that you have developed. And once you have been able to generate revenue, as a percentage of that revenue, we are looking for you to repay the amount of money that has been extended to you. So
it's basically the same amount that you have received, X amount,
yes.
You have to repay back, but again, then it has a flexibility of years to be, in which it
Yes.
can be paid back.
So you are almost looking at a period of 10 to 15 years, by the time you are actually repaying, by when, even taking care of inflation, it becomes very small. And moreover, that is only if you have been able to commercialize the product. Of course, we are, the selection process, because the experts are involved, and we try to identify such solutions or projects which have a good potential to get commercialized.
Okay. Okay.
The idea is that these projects become successful, commercially viable, so that it has, as I already mentioned, it has it benefits the country in multiple ways. One, it benefits the company because you start generating revenue. At the same time, because it benefits the country because you are able to create employment. It helps in employment generation, and then revenue to the country also through various forms of taxes, or it could be every product, or every sale that you are able to realize. It also benefits the country, the Indian economy.
Okay. Definitely.
So yes, we are only looking at that part.
Okay. Okay. The another question that has come is, you mentioned somewhere, I think, some limit on the grant. So is there any minimum requirement also that below that?
We are able to fund up to around 8 crores Indian rupees.
Okay.
So, which is 50% of your cost. So if the Indian company, as I mentioned, for the overall project development, you have 50% from Indian side and 50% from the Israeli side. Now, if the overall project cost is 100, going by 100, the cost for the Indian company would be 50 rupees. Because their share in developing the technology, out of this 50 rupees, 25 rupees is given to you as grant.
Okay. Okay. My another question to you, Sarah. So probably there are some companies which have this matchmaking. Sectoral wise also, they are also doing innovative work, but they don't have any contact in Israel, let's say, right? But they are developing some products which can be a game changer, or which can be beneficial to the people around the world, right? So my two questions. So one, how they can find the partner particularly in Israel, and secondly, is that mandatory that they have to be in Israel only?
Okay, so I'll answer the first part, and then I'll ask you to clarify the second part of the question. So how to find a partner, that's what Jyoti mentioned. You, on GITA's website, you can submit a request to search for a partner on the Israeli side. That request basically comes to me from GITA to scout for Israeli companies that could suit the Indian company. So when submitting the request on the Indian side, we ask you some information about the company, about the technology, about the potential project that you would like to submit, about the specific technological expertise you're looking on the Israeli side. And based on that, we at the Israeli Innovation Authority scout for Israeli companies that could meet your needs. And then we get back to you with a list of companies. We ask you to go over the list, see which of those could be relevant. And then we make an intro between you and the Israeli companies that you have pre-selected.
Okay.
To the second part of your question, what exactly do you mean? You mean whether to receive fund? Yeah.
Yes. So suppose that particular company is the partner is not able to find. So then once you can help, but then in case they have any partner in any other country, so can they be eligible, or it is only?
No, this specific fund can fund only joint projects of Israeli companies plus Indian companies. Okay. But as Jyoti explained, GITA has additional bilateral collaborations with other countries like Korea, Sweden, etc. that Jyoti presented. So whoever is interested to partner with companies that are not from Israel but from other specific countries can look into those programs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It is, but yes, it is only within those 9 countries that we are working with. If you are interested, then we can definitely support you under that particular that respective country program. I think I missed telling you, you wanted to know what is the limit in funding. So that 25% that is required, or 50% of the investment from your side will be equal to 8 crores, meaning up to 8 crores funding you will get. So your total investment would be 16 crores, out of which 8 crores will be given as a reimbursed to you as a grant.
As a grant. Okay. Okay. Okay, I have another question, so which someone has asked on the commercialization of the part of it. So wherein you mentioned the commercialization can be export also. So is that there is a limitation on that export also between these two countries, or the whole world is open for that?
Absolutely no limitations on your sales. You can sell it to in India. You can export. That's fine, perfectly fine, and there are no restrictions from our side. Yes, on the sale of these products.
Okay. But since I think the last question I will take up. So before that, I think we are also closing on time. The number of, so you actually shown a list of companies, right? So which are there. So was that the list of companies from all those regions of India? You mentioned multiple
Two
companies.
different lists. First thing, the map that I showed is for all the other programs also. That includes all our programs also, not just Israel. But the list of companies that I showed is very specific to the program with Israel. So under various calls, those are the companies which have been supported or which are still active. These are the projects that are being supported.
Okay. And I think the one last question, so that is from Mr. Parvinder. So that is specifically related to, so one, they are doing two projects. So one is in the agri-tech space, another they are doing into the medical. So are these two specific sectors are qualifying for that, or probably they have to go through some criteria?
Yes, no. Here, as I mentioned, the sectors that are being covered are agriculture and healthcare are also there. So I think both their projects qualify, provided it is still in development. It should not be a product that is already developed. It should be a product that you are trying to develop. It could be in a matured stage, no problem. But if you need, let us say, some more time to make it to get into the commercialization stage, that is when you become eligible, like the TRL levels 5 to 7, which I mentioned. So if the product, if your readiness, TRL, the technology readiness is in that range, then they can be supported. And both the projects that you mentioned, they fall in the sectors that are being supported currently.
Okay.
And healthcare.
So in nutshell, if I conclude, so this is mostly for the pre-revenue companies that mostly come forward to.
Pardon? I didn't understand.
This grant or funding is mostly for the pre-revenue companies, right? So the companies which
yes, you are correct. These are companies that are existing and are also operating. Not necessarily that they should be, already a big company or doing very well. It can be a startup also. But yes, there should be confidence that the company can invest their part. That is what we are looking at. If your part of your share of the cost, the company should be able to mobilize the funds. The government will give the remaining. So we are looking at only 25% in the overall development cost.
Okay, I think one last question has again come. So that is someone has asked. So is there any criteria, because there are some other programs also, so which are running, like India has its own startup program as well, right? So where some company has qualified under that startup program, they are eligible for some grants and funds and support. So is there any limitation on the company that has been formed before or after a particular date only that will be eligible?
It should, at the time of application, they should have been registered. They should be a company, but then they need to have the financial strength. That is why it is understood that a startup may not have a long track record of, but then we ask for their balance sheets for the last 3 years. Deepanvita, you may correct me if I'm going wrong, but we ask for the financials, the balance sheet in the last 3 years, so that we know that the company is capable of putting their part of money.
But it not necessarily that has to be after a particular date. There is no such condition on that.
At the time of registration, yes, a company should have at least 3 years, should have been in existence at least for 3 years or at least 2 years. Otherwise, how will they share their balance sheets?
Okay, so minimum 2 years existence should be there. That is the minimum criteria.
We are looking at 3 years, but yes, it depends on the promoters, the strength of the promoters of the company also. It depends on several factors.
Okay. I think no more questions from my side. So I think whatever questions were there from the participants, I have tried to maximum ask those questions. And in case I think anyone have any questions, so they can directly be in touch. I will ask Anjum to share the email and the website details to all the participants here. And the lastly, so I think I would like to invite Mr. Arun Parekh, the ED from TiE Rajasthan, to just give a vote of thanks to our esteemed speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. First of all, let me extend a warm thanks to the Embassy of Israel for considering TiE to be a partner for this program. Chapters from Chandigarh, Vadodara, Kolkata, everyone participating from the locations across the geographies. Thanks for your participation. Of course, a warm thanks to Ms. Orly Goldsmith, Ms. Sarah Rosenberg, of course, Mr. Jyoti Kumar, and Satish ji. Thanks very much for moderating this program so wonderfully. Sincerely appreciate the entire deliberation that has happened throughout this 1 hour, and we'll be happy to take it further with our participants who could not join today, but definitely this recording, and if the details, if that can be shared with us, I'll be very much happy to spread it across in a larger audience afterwards. So thank you everyone for being a patient audience and also participating so well and actively. Thank you very much. Over to
Thank
you,
you.
Satish.
Thank you. We thank.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you very much.